Hello everybody, welcome to another live stream. Saturday, so I hope you guys had a great week. And it's also February already, so first month of the month is gone. I hope you also had a great trading month. Everything went well with you guys in January, and if not, at least you managed to grow and to progress and to become a better trader, a better person as well. So welcome to another live stream. Today, Saturdays, as you know, we are going to do the weekly market analysis. And what a week that we had, right? So FOMC, ECB, BOE, so basically all the major banks announcing rates, and of course volatility. It was well present in the market this week, especially after Wednesday, and of course yesterday, finishing with a really strong non-farm payrolls, right? 500,000 when the market was expecting below 200k. So that was a big gap, a big difference in there, and we saw how the dollar reacted to it. So the way you usually do this, or what we do during this live stream, we go around the major assets that usually I look at. It goes from the major FX pairs. We start with the dollar index, and then we go through the indices, S&P, NASDAQ, a little bit of Dow Jones as well. We cover gold, and we cover as well Bitcoin and Ethereum for anyone that likes to trade crypto. And then of course we go in detail into each individual currency pair that we pay attention to. If you have any key levels that you like to look at, so this is again, I'm looking forward to hear as well, and to know which levels are you looking for. So we are anticipating key levels to trade for next week. That's basically what we're trying to do, and to predict what's direction that the market's going to take. So feel free to comment. If you are new, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Go live 2 times per week, Saturdays and Tuesdays. So yes, finally, the dollar broke the lows, and this was something that we have been waiting for, or mentioning during the stream for the last almost a month, a couple of weeks for sure, when the dollar was creating all these lows in here, right? And just reacting from this low on the left side. So we have been waiting for that. A lot of patience. Price took a lot of time to get away from this level. Meanwhile, on the other major FX pairs and gold, for example, we could see that they were going upwards, but not exactly showing the clue or the movement to the downside. So anytime there was a little bit of a retracement on the euro or on the gold or whatever, it was always being respected into the next month, and there you go, price was going upwards, a little bit similar to the dollar, right? So anytime dollar is kind of attempting to go higher, even with a little bit of momentum, there was a barrier in there, and price would go down until finally we broke the lows. So this was the key level that we were looking for, waiting for the dollar to break the lows before any kind of big turn in the dollar. And then of course, as I mentioned, this could be one big catalyst for the rest of the assets as well. And we had that happening this week, right? This was of course the perfect week to look for that, with again with the Fed announcing another 25 basis points, most likely another 25 basis points afterwards in March. And then that's going to be the big question mark: is the Fed going to continue to hike at least one more? If it raises by 25 basis points in March, it gets to 5% interest rate. And that's where the divergence with the market starts, because the market is not pricing in anything above 5%. The Fed has mentioned a few times that could go above 5%. And then of course is the timing. For how long is the Fed going to stay at this high rate? The market anticipating for maybe Q4 to be a reduction in the interest rates, to maybe close the year even a bit around 425 to 450. And the Fed again kind of mentioning it's going to be data based. However, it cannot, maybe there's not going to be any reduction still this year, just in 2024. So there's a big difference, the divergence between what the market is pricing in and what the Fed is saying. It's not the first time. It has been going on this battle for a long time. Even in the summer, something similar was going on. So we'll see what's going to happen in there. And of course, we had another strong NFP. It's going to be one of the biggest catalysts as well to pay attention to throughout this year, to find out as well how strong the economy, the job market is. Yep, and of course CPI is still a big issue, and to see if it continues to go down or not, or if the core CPI by any chance continues to slightly go increase. So all those aspects, that's what we've been looking for. ECB, Christine Lagarde saying something similar. Of course, there's more room to grow in the ECB because they are behind the curve. They are just now, if I'm not mistaken, at around 3%. Fed is already at 4.75, so there's a big gap in there. So we'll see. That's kind of for the fundamentals and how that helped the dollar to finally move and the market to move. So we have now, again, starting looking at these charts in here and the dollar index. It finally happened, right? So we finally broke these lows. So now it's about to pay attention to what can you expect from here. We actually broke the lows, not just the lows, we actually engulfed and broke the most recent highs, right? So this level in here that we're looking for, it's broken. Actually, price is about to start reacting, or it close exactly at the other level that I've been mentioning about during these last few weeks, which was around the supply level. So I made a few scenarios, as you remember. Again, looking at these left shoulders in here, this was important. I mentioned that as well, that eventually when you do break this structure in here, looking for some kind of opportunities around this level, it would be important. So there are two levels in here that would be something like this around this area. This is where we find kind of a little bit of a first resistance, and price broke through, and you can see there's a little bit of a gap in here, right? So between this level and this candle, there's a little bit of a gap which can be used in the future. So again, I'm not sure if the dollar is going to skyrocket now straight away from here, in the sense that without looking back, without having any kind of retracement. I do believe there's going to be some kind of retracement, and that's maybe something that we need to pay attention for next week. Is when are you going to have this kind of retracement? Now, do we still need to break or to create new lows? That's a good question mark. Not sure about that. I'm more than happy at this point to see the dollar now continue to move higher without the need to break new lows. But yes, when you do have that deep retracement, where it's going to be, it's going to be just maybe until this demand zone. So all these left shoulders, the orders from these left shoulders, they have been picked up in here. So that one is done, right? So kind of consider this level, and I need these left shoulders taken. Now there's the next one, it will be somewhere in here, and then of course just the base of this could be a scenario as well. We do have now, of course, these breaks of the highs, this previous supply level. Maybe it has already been reacted, and it looks like it was yesterday. After the retracement, there was this supply in here still fresh, which price kind of retraced to, it reacted from, and it continues to move higher. And this is exactly the type of levels that you want to be paying attention to when price turns, and where it can go to retrace before it continues to go higher. And you want to see these levels start being respected. That gives you more confidence that this can actually be a good turn, and not just kind of a small retrace to the upside in order for price to continue to move down. So all these levels, they help now as levels of support to continue to push price to the upside. So yes, this one, for example, it was a good one. Throughout this week, even before we had the Fed, actually Wednesday morning or Wednesday during the trading session, before actually had then the FOMC, there was one or two clues important. For example, the break of this high. This for me was a good clue, expecting kind of reinforcing that price eventually was about to turn, even though we created new lows. As I mentioned, I was already expecting the walls to be broken, and I was looking for the walls to be broken, but this is exactly what you want to see. You want to see some highs being broken even before the final walls are broken, are kind of taken, because this gives you some information that, okay, use it as a clue. The dollar did something similar, Aussie did something similar, and I believe gold did also something similar. Just enjoying my coffee here, guys. So yes, they did something similar, which was breaking level of structure before having or creating that extra high, and then the turn, right? So this was a good clue in there, and then of course this kind of could be looking as a Quasimodo, or at least a good supply to look for sales. But now imagine this could have been a great zone to look for a sell if any of these highs would have gone there. So this was the timing to look for a sell in there, but since price never really got there, these highs never really made this move. This level was left behind. Meanwhile, price finally has the move down, fake out all the lows, reach the final destination or one of the destinations that we were looking for. Price turns, and now this is the wrong timing or wrong moment to look for the sell. So price no longer is interesting in using this level as a sell. It's actually most likely what you're going to see is the opposite. Is price using this level now, which is basically one of the last supplies, because actually this supply in here, but it was respected in here during the FOMC. So that was taken. So it's going to be using this one of the first supplies that are fresh in here as the opposite. Instead of a sell, price is going to do just this, and this is exactly what you want to paying attention to, and that's why it's important to look at the full story and yeah, the full story of price, and also the approach, the type of approach that you are having, right? So just going to draw kind of the supply in there. Yeah, in reality the supply is actually not even there. In reality this was actually a good sell. As you can see, price actually use it on this whole time frame. You can see that on 15 minutes price actually used this level. It's really a nice opportunity to look for a sell after breaking these lows. And in reality, since this supply is already taken by that one, the next supply is actually this one. So this becomes the new supply, and actually down where actually the lows are used. This is just to see actually how important it is to go into the lower time frame to try to find out exactly which supply is still in place in there. Yes, dollar moved away like this. This is the other level that I mentioned that maybe price can still maybe go down to, eventually maybe fake out this low and then kind of move to the upside. That could be a scenario. So I wouldn't be surprised if that eventually happens at the lows in here. Maybe this low already took the orders, so it's a little bit tricky. There's not exactly a proper Quasimodo in there. That maybe this extreme in here now, so actually can maybe use this zone a little bit more like this. Maybe price could take these lows in there. This is the extreme of the extreme. Before that, there's maybe that the other level in here, either in here or in here, to look for on the dollar. So again, this now is going to be the big question mark. Is I'm kind of expecting it, some kind of retracement back into these levels. Question mark is until where is price actually going to go to and when it's going to happen. So as you know, and this is actually some kind of pattern. I call it the Monday pattern. After such a strong day, not just one but actually 2 days, I'm really expecting Monday, when the market opens, to continue to move into the same direction. So some kind of more bullishness on the dollar. There's maybe some kind of retracement a little bit, but most likely more bullish movements to occur, especially if you do have a strong opening during the London session. Yeah, a little bit more strength to the upside, maybe a little bit of retracement, and expecting then a new high being created on the dollar. So next key levels in here, almost all this looks a little bit compressed, unless there's still something in here that can be used a little bit. But almost all this looks compressed, and maybe price can start looking for something getting closer to this these lows in here. And this is what we have on the dollar index, right? So finally price took the lows, something that we have predicted for a month, almost every single Saturday. We have been talking about the patience and waiting for price to actually break below the lows before any major reversal. And you can see any attempt to go higher, it was strongly rejected straight away. Rejected. We finally break through a little bit of this highs, show indication where we want to go next. Before that, we need to take the lows, and that's what we had in here. So that's for the dollar index. I'm expecting now price to continue to go a little bit higher. On Monday, maybe Tuesday, there's going to be a little bit of a retracement, and I would like to see price getting a little bit closer, or by any chance retracing a little bit back to these lows, and then continue the rally to the upside. Yeah, so dollar index, it finally happened. The indices, right? So what we have in the indices. Another one that you have been talking about, another one that you have been predicting correctly in the past few weeks. So starting with S&P and urea, right? So yes, initially price reacted nicely from this supply level. Next supply level fresh was this one, which is actually where price is reacting. And in the end, I would like to see price actually getting closer to the other extreme in here. Looking a little bit more at this bigger picture, yes, this level in here is even aligned a little bit with these left shoulders in there as well. So interesting to see how price is going to react from there. But I would like to see actually price going at least retesting these highs from the 18th of August. And regarding to the S&P, I mentioned a few times as well, there is even the possibility for price to fake out these highs and actually get closer to this supply level, because price broke above this triple top, fake out that level, it moved to the downside, but it didn't really react from the next level, which is in here, and that can still occur. So yes, price may not just stop even from here, price may actually go a little bit higher, take it, and maybe after that we can have a little bit of a deeper retracement, or eventually then the supply in here, right? So you have the base of this level and you have kind of the extreme in there. So that's something to pay attention to in here on the S&P. Again, we are already waiting and expecting this high to be taken, mostly because when this price moved down, it reacted quite nicely from this demand zone, and after that has been just moving to the upside, even respecting this trend line in here. So yes, eventually this level is taken, price now is reacting from this one, and usually price actually goes and actually retests the high before any turn. So let's see what the S&P is going to do. Nice move upwards in there. Again, a little bit of the separation. Let's see if with the turn on the dollar, if the indices are also going to turn. They're starting to be a little bit less correlated. For example, while the dollar during all this last month of January has been almost in a range, we had the indices making a really strong rally to the upside, right? So with different moves between the dollar and the indices, for example. Now looking at the NASDAQ, it's another one that we have been bullish based on what price has been doing. Again, we covered the break of this high even when it happened in that moment back in the middle of December, and we mentioned this specific level in there as a really good zone for price to bounce from, since this one never really got there, and it can be something similar to the dollar index, right? We had now today or the other day we have a strong move to the upside, but maybe price just reacted from something, in this case the left shoulders on the left side, without really reacting from the extreme of the level. So eventually when you do have that deep retracement, there's a chance that you can go below that demand zone that was created in the middle, just to react from the zone just below that and to continue to go higher after that. So we had the first engulf up in there, we had another engulf up in here after price finally reacts from the level. The level is respected. I mentioned even when this happens in October that most likely this will be the lower low of the year, and then I really like this level in here to look for a potential continuation. So the break in here, price goes up, and then we had another second engulf to the upside, and this is the moment to look for some continuation. Space to fill, of course, first this high, price even already took this high slightly. Next level, most likely price wants to continue to go a little bit higher. There's a chance, again, similar to the S&P, that maybe price wants to go and react from the extreme of those highs back in August. We'll see. We have all this level, important level of structure in here as well, in alignment with that. Yes, I could see a little bit more room to the upside on the NASDAQ as well. Maybe not just reacting from here, but actually maybe a little bit more continuation upwards until maybe price gets closer to that level. In terms of a simple tip regarding price action and this kind of moves, right? So when you get to the lows, as I mentioned, I think several times, when you do have the first break of an important high, usually price does want to do. You don't really see the breakout happening straight away. What you see happening, you should expect some kind of deep retracement first, to create a kind of a double low or something like that. But at least some kind of deep retracement. So we have our breakout to the upside, kind of price showing that it wants to go higher. And after that, if price does respect this low without breaking it, so kind of it creates a double low in here. Now the next time that you actually now break this high, so it's kind of the second break of a high, not the first one. The first one maybe expect some kind of deep retracement to occur, but the second time of that we break it, this is usually when we have the momentum. Now either price kind of breaks, retests and goes away, or kind of retraces just a little bit, maybe takes even some lows and goes. It's a little bit kind of, we'll see what may happen, but comparing with the full range that we are looking for, it's usually just a small retracement considering all this distance, and then you gain the momentum to continue to go higher. It's a little bit similar to these guys. We actually take this important low, price instead of kind of going straight away, it actually goes down, respects the next low, and now the second time that we break this level, this is the moment to look for that trend continuation setup, or price to now move away from here, right? So something similar that happened in here. Price goes down a little bit, retrace, but now it creates that momentum to go higher, with the potential maybe to go even a bit more in there. Just a small tip in here, or maybe when to look for those trend continuation setups when you're moving away from these zones. So yeah, NASDAQ again, maybe continuing to look a little bit to the upside. Of course, there's maybe something in here that can be looked at, but in terms of targets, I wouldn't mind to continue to see price going a little bit higher. Now, yes, we are reacting from this important zone in here, on the left side, all the way until somewhere in there in here. Nevertheless, this looks like maybe it has been already touched by this high, so I would like to see price actually going a little bit higher before moving down. We reacted from this demand zone in here. Let's see what's next on NASDAQ. So yes, since the beginning of the month, or since the beginning of the year, that we have been a little bit bullish, at least based on what the price action was showing. From what you could see on the charts, well, Dow Jones, it was the one that I was kind of bearish, right? So I mentioned that I was in this conflict between the indices, where I was kind of a little bit bullish still on S&P and the NASDAQ. On the Dow, not so much, right? Because for me, I look at this range in here, at this price, and I actually would like to see price going back to these lows even before maybe breaking these highs. And while S&P and NASDAQ have been completely moving upwards, Dow has been kind of in this battle in here, right? So it's not really moving away. Now we did respect this low, so that's not exactly an engulf down. I would be more confident that price actually wanted to go further down if we had seen these walls being broken. We are in this strong compression. This can be kind of a little bit of a clue, and now we do already have 1, 2, and now kind of 3 tops created in here. which kind of leads me to maybe look for setups a little bit higher than that, maybe in alignment with this left shoulder. Maybe that could happen quite fast, and then price could drop after that. Nevertheless, we are reacting from somewhere in here. Price can still literally go a little bit more to the extreme, somewhere in there. And yeah, this is what we have seen. So again, I mentioned that I was with that conflict between what I could see in the indices, NASDAQ and S&P a little bit more bullish. Dow, I was not really seeing that much momentum to the upside, and apparently that's what the market has been doing. We've seen NASDAQ and S&P skyrocketing and going upwards, and the Dow finding some kind of battle in here. Now, on the other hand, because it looks like now S&P and NASDAQ are leading, comparing with the NASDAQ, with the Dow Jones. However, if you do pay attention to the bigger picture, for example, just to have a little bit in perspective, the NASDAQ and Dow Jones are still reacting from this range. Okay, so NASDAQ, S&P has reacted from this supply, and now is reacting from this one, and NASDAQ is literally just took this high in here. So both NASDAQ and the S&P, they haven't even got closer to the highs since from August, while Dow Jones had already broken literally all those highs, and you could see the momentum that was going on the Dow Jones by around the end of the year last year, comparing with the S&P and NASDAQ that was completely lagging. So even though there's not that much momentum on the Dow at this point, it has moved much more than NASDAQ and S&P, comparing with the bigger picture and the levels that they are trading for. For example, if this Dow Jones is actually, it would be a leading index based on what maybe you could expect on S&P. Therefore, we should expect S&P to still break these highs from August. So since S&P now is somewhere in here, therefore maybe we could still see more room to the upside if that would be something to happen. They were super correlated last year. There was a little bit of a difference now without this move to the upside on the Dow comparing with the other indices. This is something to keep an eye on. Hi Dustin. Gold. Yes, I do pay attention to gold. Welcome to the stream, man. Do you trade gold? Did you catch any of the shorts during this week? And what is your bias for next week? Where is the target? Where are you looking for gold to kind of stop and maybe have a little bit of a retracement? And if it retraces, where are you looking to look for sales again? I look at gold in a bit. Or since you are here, you can maybe cover gold now if you want to. So yes, this is for the indices. Interesting enough. The ones that kind of price was showing a little bit more of slowing down the momentum and maybe a little bit more bearish. It's exactly Dow Jones that hasn't been moving that much, and the other ones have been moving quite strongly to the upside. Yes, now euro, right? So this is another one that you pay attention to. Euro index, a little bit similar to the dollar index. It's something that we look at to help find out direction of the euro pairs and the correlation between the currencies. Again, another one that we have been looking for quite a while. We broke that structure on the left side, right? So we broke these highs in here slightly and go upwards. It's a little bit similar to what happened on the Aussie dollar, for example. So we did broke a little bit these highs. We reacted straight away into a good level of a supply that was in there, and price reacted a little bit to the downside, right? So it was not exactly the full turn immediately, because the next key level that we were looking for, it will be this previous level of support, kind of this level of structure that we have in here around 1033. Initially it was a little bit based on the at lows in there, but if you do actually pay attention to where the demand starts or the supply starts within this structure, it's exactly basically where the euro index reacted from. And of course, what's the next level? It's basically you have this price to fulfill. So after we took these highs in here, there was this price now to be fulfilled in there, to be filled. And where is the next reaction? As soon as we react from there, of course, just react, just go back to the next level of structure, which is based with this highs, which is exactly where we are at this point on the euro index. Again, another ECB happening that occurred last Thursday, and another sell-off on the euro. It has been a pattern, price of euro dropping during the ECB press conference, which is exactly what happened. Again, we have the ECB, we have price euro approaching those highs last Thursday, which is always something that we like to see just before a key news event like the ECB press conference and interest rate decision in there. What we have in here, we have a slightly break of a low even before we finally touch the supply in there. So everything already showing where it wanted to go even before price kind of reacted from there. Nice reversal, price reacted from the zone. Next target to look for, definitely to fill this price, because these highs, as I mentioned, are the previous level of resistance, previous highs in there that can work quite nicely as support and in alignment with that we have this strong demand zone. So price now at this point is in between these two levels, let's see which direction is going to break first. Now the way price was moving to the upside, this euro index has been breaking some lows on the way up, which can lead a little bit to some clues of maybe a turn in the euro. However, there's more room to. However, this key low, for example, still needs to be broken in order before actually price starts showing off that direction, or price starting to move in that momentum, right? So for example, as I mentioned before, for example, the last ECB press conference, it was in here, and we saw the sell-off on the euro, and that lasted maybe 3 weeks until finally the 6th, if I'm not mistaken, this is the 6th, no, 3rd of January. Yeah, it lasted basically 3 weeks, 2 weeks in there. Another ECB press conference, another move to the downside on the euro. Let's see if we manage to break this level. There's maybe potential to look for more room to the downside on the euro. How are we going to do that? That's going to be interesting to see. But how the approach in here, even breaking a little bit of a few lows, I would actually like to see, or could read for the euro to go down. Like we have seen the euro dollar completely going down. The problem is that the euro pairs hasn't done the same, right? So that's why the euro hasn't this euro index hasn't really broke to the downside. The yen index finally moved a little bit away from this range. It went higher with the FOMC, and yesterday with the dollar reversing, we had the yen as well moving down. Overall, we are still within this range in here. It's a little bit similar to what happened on the dollar yen. There may be some opportunities that you can look for. I do have still kind of this supply demand in there. Just below these lows, not sure if it's going to hold or not. I haven't been paying attention, or that much attention, to the yen in these most recent weeks since we had that Bank of Japan meeting where nothing was done and no decision was done. Everything stayed the same. So, and we have seen all this range in here on the yen. So that's basically for the currency index that we look for. And now we can go to the major FX pairs that you're paying attention to. All right, Dustin, are you there still? You want to look at gold? So here we are on the euro dollar. Right, so here we are on the euro dollar. So what we have, right? So again, we talked about all these highs. from the 6th of April. I mentioned as well several times the same way that I was mentioning dollar to break the high, to break the lows, for the euro to break the highs. Now the first key level that I was looking for, it would be something in here. Price didn't really, it's just a small reaction from there, and then actually the zone where price eventually turned, it was slightly higher. We can actually investigate a little bit the zone on the euro where price reversed from. It was a little bit overnight where the high was created, which was a little bit annoying in order to try to participate. But this is what you can see, right? Two levels in here now that I was looking for. Yes, the first one would be definitely that level. Price didn't really react from, had a small reaction, but then continued during the FOMC. And now this was an important one. This decision here for price to completely break through, and then the next would be where this compression started and then where the compression finished. So a few levels in there to look for, but price at this point decided to react from the base of this strong demand zone that was created in there, somewhere in here. So I don't know if you even can go into lower time frame. Now the euro, there you go, it reacted from here. Now is this the final destination? Is there any more a little bit of room to the upside on the euro? Maybe that can happen. Bigger picture, it looks like it can be a good level in here. After that we kind of inserted this move down. Now of course price can go definitely still to the extremes. Nevertheless, there you go, we had this strong move to the downside on the euro. We did broke those highs and it followed through with the dollar. This was another engulf, the same way that I mentioned that break to the highs on the dollar index. This was an engulf that I paid attention to. It happened on Wednesday morning, if I'm not mistaken. Again, price still kind of went and took the highs, and this could be looking as a target in the future when you do have that turn. Yesterday, nice move with the FOMC, not FOMC, with the NFP. Again, with NFP, there are sometimes that big reversal like it happened in here in January, or there is kind of the continuation where the reversal happened kind of the day before, and then you have the continuation setup. Really nice move on the euro. I know a few of you guys that managed to catch the trade exactly at the extreme. The PA in there was really good. We had the engulf down straight away in the morning, then you had retracement, and this is a beautiful zone, a beautiful supply in there with a KM zone as well, either on the right side of the high, and even using this left shoulder, and then the approach as well. Even before we turn, we already broke a few lows, and then the final spike into exactly to the supply in there, and price just turned. So beautiful setup. Congrats to all of you guys that managed to catch this trade setup that we talked about as well. And then the continuation, it was quite interesting as well. If slightly kind of take these highs on the other picture, it looks like it just broke a high, and maybe price is about to turn after having a really good reaction from this demand zone that was still in there, because it just broke this high. Maybe some of you already start thinking that price would have a deeper retracement, but in reality, and this is where it's important as well to look at the lower time frame, in reality, it never really broke the overall supply in there. So we never really broke the structure to look for highs, because this is not, it was not a high visible in there. It was this one. If you maybe even go into the lower time frame, that could be even better. And now this is what you could want to pay attention to, right? So what key levels now are still fresh in there that maybe you can look for opportunities to sell. For example, maybe even the retest of these highs in here can be interesting to look for in the future, since can you okay for example, since we kind of broke this low in here, price kind of paused a little bit in the middle, it didn't really react to the extreme in here, so this can actually become a really interesting zone in the future to look for a sell on the euro. That's kind of zone one, maybe something in there. We could pay attention to this one as well. This level can be interesting as well in the even for Monday, depending on how market opens overnight. Maybe around the London session, or the opening of the London session, maybe price can go and react from this level as well. As this supply now, it's kind of still fresh. Price, this one's in here, didn't really reacted from there. So that can be an interesting level. And this is now the exercise, not the exercise, but what you need to be doing. As price now starts to move away, retraces, you need to pay attention to which levels have been touched, which levels are still fresh, and which levels break or doesn't break structure, right? You can see that this now becomes kind of an interesting potential key M zone. Right, we have these left shoulders, price kind of respected. Again, beautiful this week in there, and this can be interesting to look for in the future. Maybe that level on there, and then we'll see. We just continue to look at those setups, and usually they happen as well. Or do you want to see something happening around key important levels of structure? That's where the manipulation is going to occur. Maybe some people are going to just look for a break of the low and continuation straight away. Most likely price is going to create some kind of structure, maybe create a new low, break out at level, and then continue. And there you go. And you continue to move like that. That's usually a nice pattern to have occurring around when you break important levels of structure like this low can be quite important. And in the future, maybe there's then the continuation even to look for more move to the downside. Now, as you mentioned, the range that I was looking for to fulfill, initially it was this one because this was where the high was, but honestly, since we were already expecting the breaks of the highs, whatever the high is, this was the range, right? So this in here is basically the range that I was looking for price to fulfill. Almost all of it was compressed. Just keep following the price, and you're going to see maybe what next that can be the target for this move to the downside, and maybe when to expect some kind of retracement. Now, interesting enough, we do create now this range in here. It's important to have actually this middle range. You can see already maybe the potential of something like this happening as well. Even retesting these highs could be a scenario. Moving down or having a little bit of a deeper retracement and going a little bit higher. And now this is kind of the same question and exercise that I cover on the dollar index. Eventually, when price does retrace to the downside on the dollar index, where can be that level to look for continuation? It looks like we have maybe a gap between this high and these lows, something that price can go and react to. Of course, if you start going into the lower time frame, maybe the gap is not really there. I was looking actually on the euro for price to go a little bit higher towards this level. During the ECB press conference, price just stopped in here and it just dropped after that. So we already had this break of a low. So yes, looking for a bearish scenario in there, but I was looking for the ECB to go a little bit more to the extreme before the drop. That never happened. So kind of those levels are a little bit fresh in there. But yeah, maybe something in here that price can go to. So this one has already been taken. Interesting to see how price is going to react from there in the future. And yeah, it just continues. This is the exercise. So as price is going down, keep following price. Even if you are not taking that trend continuation setup, at least you can be aware of where are those gaps to be filled in the future. So yeah, it's a little bit similar to the dollar index. On Monday, I'm expecting price to have another leg to the downside, a little bit maybe of a retracement first, and then the continuation to the downside. Where can be important to look for trades as well. For example, we have all these lows in here. Can be something that could be useful for price to now to find some level of resistance and maybe continue to the downside. Again, in here, where can be some levels that could help price to kind of have that a little bit of retracement before then continue to the downside. So that's what you want to find out. Any small retracement in here, it can happen. Maybe around 11 a.m. around 10 a.m. maybe. That's when can occur if you do have that move to downside during the London Open. A little bit of a retracement and then expecting at least a new low to be created after we have that retracement on the euro, with the potential to actually continue and fulfill all this price in here. So that's what I am looking for in there on the euro. Pound, so another one that we predicted quite nicely. Again, question mark was, did we needed or not to have another engulf up? But this was the prediction, right? We wanted to see the highs being taken. We saw that this demand was still fresh, and usually that's something that they create just before a potential reversal, because then they can use the break of these lows as information that it wants to go down, but then use this demand as use this demand for the deeper retracement to create kind of that Quasimodo level, and that's kind of a little bit beyond the theory of the KM. And there you go. There was no need apparently to break new highs. Price was doing a little bit its own thing. There was another big volatility moving here during the Bank of England, and we just continue to move down, sell off on the pound. Again, all this compression was super clear, and that's again what we are looking for price to fulfill this range in there, with the potential to even continue to go lower, maybe even retest this level. Something that I also mentioned, even when we created this move in here on the last month during the NFP, is that I could see this one as an engulf down. So it just broke this double low in here, and then after that we turned. Yes, there were these highs in here. There's a high chance that we could actually fake out those highs before actually the final turn, but I can see this one almost as an engulf to downside. So all these lows, kind of this place has been filled. This is done. So now let's see if there's anything in here that can hold a little bit the pound, or are we going to kind of just have this continuation of a sell-off on Monday, and price maybe retesting this level, and then finding a little bit of a bottom in here, and then we'll see what's going to happen. Key zones to maybe to look for. Basically, this one is already touched by that one. Is a little bit of the money there, yes or no? Need to investigate a little bit more in the lower time frame. Yeah, that level has already been spiked. There's maybe something in here that can still be used without the need to create that extra high. Yeah, something in here can be interesting on the pound, above these highs into that level, and then continue to move to the downside. That can actually be interesting to look for. I'm going to be looking at that level in the future. Yeah, something in there. Yeah, this size, there may be shine to there. Yeah, aside from that, just continue to look for, try to find some kind of highs that can be created as manipulation, wait for that move, and continuation to the downside. So yeah, pound, again, another one. It took a little while to reverse, most likely because we are waiting, as I mentioned, for the dollar to move. And when the dollar finally moved, there you go, we had the strong move on the other currency pairs. Yeah, we talked about that. We've been talking about it for quite a while. Aussie, another one, right? So it's another engulf down. Even before, yes, we had fake out those the double top, but a little bit similar to the euro index. The fake out where it happened, it was just a small supply level in the lower time frame, but the normal move eventually it will be to react from the next level of structure in the same scale as you can see in here, right? So this was the level. It was a really lovely zone in there where price reacted from, and there you go, the sell-off happening straight after that. This was another one that unfortunately for me, I was looking for price to get in there, and price never got there. I was looking for the sell in there. This was around the ECB press conference as well. I was looking for the Aussie to do this and then go down. It got shy into here, kind of took these highs, but not really touched the next level. And yes, I did miss the sell in there. I was looking for price to reverse, as well. That never really happened. So this demand was already been taken. In here, retrace and then continue to go down, and then just to sell off, right? So now we may have this level, we have the next one. Nice reaction in here as well. Again, continuation to the downside. Most likely, price can go and target these lows, which was also some kind of range that we were looking for initially, to see Aussie to fulfill, and even the potential to go even a little bit lower. But for now, it's this level that I'm looking for the Aussie to go to, at least to test these lows, with the potential to even continue to go further down, right? So again, this is the compression that we talk about so much. This one is already a little bit of an engulf down in there, and we have another break of a low, and then continuation. Eventually we have the turn, right? So when does that fake out happens? Even though we did the break of this, look left to see if actually price is reacting from the valid zone, or if there's something above it that makes a little bit more sense for price to go to before the turn. And now, maybe in the future, whenever price retraces there, maybe price can still go something in there to look for another sell. But yes, nice moves. Again, another one motivated by the strong dollar move. Yep, more of the same. Aussie, beautifully. Euro Aussie going upwards as well. Kind of, it retested or took slightly this low, and it's moving upwards. Yeah, let's see how price is going to react from this level, and you have all these left shoulders as well in here. But yes, personally, maybe going a little bit higher to see how it's going to react from there, right? So, and as you can see, the reason for the Euro index kind of still being within that range is we have this Euro index, for example, going higher, and we have Euro dollar completely going down. So there's still not that momentum on the Euro index. Just the same thing, for example, on the Euro pound as well, price going and moving to the upside, right? So yeah, it's a little bit of a strength still on the other Euro index pairs, and even the yen, Euro yen is all going higher. The yen, there you go, it retested the lows one more time. We are reacting from that level on the left side. Apparently, maybe this is enough to hold price. Let's see if we do eventually take that low or not. So I haven't been really paying attention too much in there. Nice reaction from this level. Move to the upside. Let's see what's going to happen on the dollar yen. Maybe potential to go higher in there. Yes, we do have a little bit of a break to the upside already in here. Yeah, let's see what direction is going to dollar yen is going to have to kind of moving a little bit away. There's maybe a little bit of a zone in there that price can react to. Yep, maybe these lows actually managed to hold price, and maybe push price to go higher, right? So again, it has been influenced by what the dollar is doing. The other yen pairs, a little bit of a range in here on the euro yen. Price went down a little bit. But this may be an engulf to downside. Let's see how price is going to react from something in there. There's potential to go in there as well. So let's see what's going to happen on the euro yen, respecting from this level as well. Did it took this high? Took this high slightly. It's reversing. I'd like to see price going a little bit higher, maybe at the extreme of that high. Even though I don't really like to see double tops, I don't really like to trade not triple tops. I may prefer to look for the fake out, but we do have all this level of structure in here. It can be used. Yeah, pound yen, again a little bit the same. Pound yen actually was one of the yen pairs that was demonstrating more PA to the downside. After respecting this level, it broke the lows several times, and kind of it followed what the pound was doing as well. Now we're testing from this level. Maybe a little bit more room to the downside as well could be expected. The USD card, it was another one. We actually covered that last week or so. So initially, I wanted to see price breaking this wall, right? So that's the wall that I was looking for the cut to react from. This wall already kind of broke that one, and eventually price is not going to really do any big reversal without actually taking this wall first. This one was already kind of a reaction from there. There was a really nice reaction from this demand zone in here. Initially somewhere in there, and then price went up, and anytime price tries to go up, it just continues to get rejected. Nice reaction from that supply. In here we kind of created a double bottom in alignment with that low. Initially price went up, and finally we took the low and reversed to the upside as well. Something that I also mentioned, below this low, we actually went into more detail into the lower time frame in there to see where the zone was, or where maybe we could expect for price to go. And I mentioned that yes, below this low, basically every single thing in here has been compressed up until these lows. So everything in here which we spiked already, this is where kind of the low reacted from, so that demand zone has been taken as well. Everything in here has been spiked, and I mentioned yes, at least below this low I would like to see, I think price will go through, not reacting from here, but there may be a little bit more of a move in there, and that's exactly where price ended up going to, right? It took this low, and after that it reversed in there. So that's where the dollar CAD reacted from. Now there's still maybe something in here that can hold price. It's a super strong compression on the way up. It's not exactly my favorite moves of the way to see price going up. I like to see at least some spaces in here that price eventually could retrace to go upwards without taking it on the way. Now we do have all these left shoulders in there. So let's see until where price actually it's going to. There's still that level at the extreme. The supply kind of has been taken in there, a little bit in here, and maybe some lows in here that can be still used as a move upwards. Bigger picture. Price kind of has this double low in there. Okay, good reaction since this was never really reacted from there, so expecting something like that. But maybe price will still continue to move forward, or I wouldn't be surprised if you do eventually break these lows in there. But yes, something in there. I like this extreme in here on the dollar CAD. So yeah, keeping an eye on what's going to happen. Another one similar to the dollar yen. It's another one that recently I haven't really paid too much attention to look for opportunities in there. Dollar franc Swiss. Another one. All right. It's another one that we had this low. Price went all the way there to respect that low. Basically, this was all this compression in here, and we mentioned a few times that yes, it's quite interesting actually to see a double low kind of being created at the extreme in there, because then it kind of works really nice to be faked out in the future. As you can see, price this low didn't really react from anything in particular in there. Price kind of left this level behind. Again, I still paying attention to this one in here, even below that low. But for now, after such an important kind of double low, really beautiful fake out in there, and just even in alignment with that exact same lows that we just faked out, that price just faked out, it can be a really interesting level. This was a good entry at around this demand zone as we are moving away from here. So that was maybe one of the best entries that you could have taken. Now in the future is trying to see where price can eventually retrace to, if it wants to continue to use these lows as a move to the upside. At this point, is reacting from this supply level. I think we can maybe start going a little bit upwards and feeling some kind of compression in here. Maybe even going all the way until there, fake out this size in here. Now there are maybe a few supplies along the way that can still be used. A little bit of work to do. It's not going to be just a straight line. But let's see what the dollar franc Swiss is going to happen. We have this level of structure in here. So let's see what the dollar franc Swiss is going to do. But it's another one that was affected with this strong dollar move to the upside. Another one that kind of the timing for the turn, everything was in alignment basically for this week. Yep, everything was in alignment for this week. So let's see in the future, next week, what's going to happen. A little bit of a retracement in here, or if you manage to break this highs. After you break this highs, maybe you can have a little bit more of a deep retracement, and then maybe the continuation to the upside. And gold, right? Gold, it was exactly the same story that we talked about, similar to the euro. As I mentioned several times, it was another one that we were looking for. We are trying to find that small engulf down, and it kind of occurred in a weird way when it happened. So last week I mentioned, just looking at the daily time frame, we had all these weeks. This demand in here was still fresh, and price actually went below that low, if I'm not mistaken. The low in here is 1997, 1992, right? So I noticed that actually this low went slightly below this daily low on that candle. It kind of still reacted from somewhere in that level, but it did broke below that zone. It was still good to react from. Again, price was reacting initially really nicely from this level, and now it touched the base of that level, and it was actually a beautiful supply level where it reacted from. You can actually take a look into it. It's actually a really beautiful level in there on gold where it reversed. As you can see, this is the highs that you can see on the bigger picture. We already even have this slightly move upwards and showing kind of a little bit of it works quite nicely as a target, and the supply in there is it's really beautiful where kind of gold end up reacting from, right? The extreme in here, the highs just below it, they didn't react from there. I have to be honest, I didn't see this level straight away in the beginning. The same way that I kind of identified that level on the Aussie, on the gold, actually I didn't really did the exercise or to go look into the levels just above those highs. I just saw it a little bit after the fact, then was about trying to find an entry in there, but it was a great reaction into that level. And then now the approach, right? So the way price was moving away, and the sell-off started as well on Thursday after the strong move up with the FOMC in there, right? Again, there was some other lows in here kind of being broken a little bit to the downside. That's the low that I mentioned that we broke below. This one here went slightly below that low. This is the daily low that I mentioned in there, and all the rest of the compression, as I mentioned, it finally got filled. So all this has been super compressed on the way up, loads of touches every single time on the demand zones. Anytime price was attempting to go down, it was being rejected. Price was going up straight away. We finally start turning a little bit in here, and then we actually managed to take this one, and the rest is history. Even with this level in here, we managed to take these lows, and then the fake out happened in there beautifully. Gold, another one in relation to the dollar. I think it was 2% on Thursday, and it was maybe a little bit more than 2% yesterday. Again, maybe continuation to the downside slightly. Let's see how price reacts from here. Next destination, maybe going a little bit more to downside, but you can see how big of a drop it had during these last 2 days. Yeah, maybe something in here. Now, is this the final destination on gold? Is gold eventually going to go a little bit higher? I think it will. I think eventually price is going to kind of find a way to move upwards, and maybe getting a little bit closer to that level. And yeah, so let's see up until where eventually all this can be all this compressed up until there, but there's still a few zones in there to look for on gold. Yep, just continues to move down, continues to move down, continues to move down, and again, as price is moving down, try to find out exactly, first of all, where the extremes of this new compression is. That's also important, because eventually when price turns, price may just wants to go all the way to retest the extremes of the compressions. There's maybe something in here that can still be used. We have kind of that supply level. We have a little bit of a fake out in here, as you can see. Maybe this can be used as well in the future. And as price hasn't really touched that that zone in here, right? So another fake out in there. There's the base of this that can still be used in there. In that supply, something in here. Price can go again. All the scale, sometimes it gets destroyed when you have such a big candles going on. It's a little bit weird to analyze it. But yeah, just keeping an eye on that. Maybe to look for ways to continue to move down. Extremes in here are even above that level, right? Maybe in here actually can be interesting, even above just this supply that is underneath that. We have this one. It looks like price never really reacted from there. There's a little bit of a space in there to look for. Yep, this is what you can start doing if you want to predict the next levels. And the same thing that you are doing in here as price is going down, kind of you could have done already as price is going up, and you start seeing maybe some spots, some levels that price can maybe react from. To have some kind of bounces, and then again manage your expectations in terms of any targets at this point. Not going to be straight away from any zone that price will just now skyrocket to the upside. Wait for price now maybe to start actually breaking some highs if you want to do that. And then in terms of sales, if you are looking for any trend continuation, try to find as well important levels on the left side that can use as a little bit of as a support. And yeah, don't fight that immediately. Wait maybe for some retracement before continue the trend. Yeah, that's gold. It was another one. Strong move down, interesting, and that was it. Oil, what oil is doing? Interesting enough, oil is retesting this. So we are within this range. We're retesting this $73 mark now. It managed to respect those highs, never really took them. So let's see now what's going to happen somewhere in here. We talked about this break of the low and price going higher. Now this demand zone is still fresh. So let's see if it's going to be now that price finally is going to take that demand and then maybe go higher. Now bigger picture, we are closer to this level in there, and price can maybe yeah, do this something like that still, or are we going to just continue to move down or be in this range? So let's see what oil is going to do, affected a little bit as well with everything that's going on. So yeah, keeping an eye on oil can be interesting. Yeah, that level in here is still fresh. Price just respected this one in there after breaking a little bit of the structure. Yeah, completely moving downside, fill the space, and yeah, first key level is going to be this level. And let's see if we don't kind of bounce back again. We're going to continue trading within this range. Yeah, that's basically it. For me, okay, BTC, nice reaction from that level. I'm still looking for price to go slightly higher. we have managed to kind of keep respecting these lows. We are in this strong compression, again, strong move up, down, break new highs, still trading within this level, another strong move up, a little bit maybe of a move in there. There's maybe this demand zone that price can still use to continue to go higher. We do have the supply, so keeping an eye on that. But overall, I wouldn't mind to see price getting closer to this level in there. Something that I would like to see happening. And then let's see what's going to happen next. Like if price continues just to move within this kind of compression way, again, I would like to see some proper low being broken to show me that maybe price wants actually to start going down from where it is now. This is an important structure. There's a chance, of course, if you do break above that level, maybe you can go a little bit higher. Maybe even after we break that high. And as I mentioned, I think I already mentioned that situation or scenario once. If you do break above that high, and if this level is still fresh, in here below these lows, under test of this previous level, maybe price actually can take that high and maybe can go a little bit lower. Take out all these flows in here and retest from that level and continue to move upwards afterwards, and maybe to fill that range until 29 or 30k. So yeah, so that could be one scenario. So yeah, let's see if you do continue to move in this compression to the upside. If you do start breaking some lows, there's a chance that price may retrace straight away and respecting that high. If you do break that high, and if this level is still fresh, I wouldn't be surprised if you actually maybe go a little bit lower, maybe go collect the orders from here, somewhere in there, and then continue. So yeah, Bitcoin, it's a little bit that what I'm looking for. Ethereum as well, I think I'm expecting price to continue to go higher. This is an interesting break of a low that price did at this point. Nothing much in that moment. Now, yes, we're looking for price to fill and getting closer a little bit to this level, but my favorite level on Ethereum, it's still somewhere closer to that zone. So looking at the daily time frame, for example, it looks like this can be a little bit of a nice potential Quasimodo, right? That could have been something like this. So I can have these left shoulders, and now I'm at a little bit of this supply. It looks like it's still fresh, so price can have some kind of reaction from there. However, when you did break these highs in here back in September, these highs never really reached to the next level, which is in this one in here, right? So this is actually the level that I'm looking for, and that's why I'm expecting eventually for these highs to be faked out and for price to get closer to that zone. So yes, I would like to see price continue to moving higher, hopefully in this time of compression similar to BTC. Now we have a little bit of this demand. Price can go a little bit higher, can go a little bit down, can take this demand, can continue to go a little bit higher and compressing. Eventually, I'd like to see some lows being taken along the way. Maybe retest this level, make it look like it's a proper double top. Maybe after that, break that low, and then yes, and then finally go higher, spike that, take those orders, and maybe slowly starting moving down, at least feeling this compression for now. From after breaking that high, going all the way until here, and even breaking, of course, below that level, because in reality this is already an engulf down for the future. So actually price eventually going to break down those lows and can go either to that level or retest this level in here. And after that, let's see what Ethereum is going to do. It's going to go move up again or not. Of course, there's definitely still a retracement to be expected after we break this. After we break this low, expect maybe some kind of retracement towards that level to use now to collect the orders from this left shoulder and this double top in there. So go there, and maybe that's where the retracement is going to occur, right? So yeah, using these left shoulders now in here, this looks like something that can happen on Ethereum. Just continue this compression to the upside, go collect his demand, don't forget his demand in here, still fresh, price can continue to do this up until that level. So yes, I wouldn't really be looking for that many shorts, a bigger picture, until price takes this high in here from the 12th of September. Is it 12? 11 maybe. Yeah, that looks like it's a good scenario in there. Is price going to go even higher than that? Maybe. Maybe that could be an option. Now, another scenario. Let's continue to play out these scenarios. Let's pretend that price never really takes this demand from here, right? So this demand is left behind, and actually price starts doing everything that we mentioned, but without taking this demand. Maybe after the reaction from that high, actually the distance that price is going to go to is actually maybe just this demand, and after that demand, price maybe just continue to go higher, right? So we'll see. The market is dynamic. This is just a few scenarios that you can start making in advance. Key levels to look at, the zones that are being left behind. We have a clear zone that it's in there to look for, and let's see. And this is a little bit similar to what I'm just mentioning here. It's what just happened on the pound, on the euro, on the dollar index, on the gold, and so on. This is usually how price moves. Start this compression. Go ahead. Find a specific high that everyone is looking at, which is this one on the 11th of September at around 1,800 maybe. Yeah, somewhere in there. Everyone may be looking at this one. Make it look like it's working. That's why it's important to kind of make it look like it's a double top. So hopefully price is going to actually respect this high and then starts going down. Even better if you manage to break a low. Everyone's going to definitely become bearish after you break that low, important low, but then go up again, and now it's the time to finally fake out a high, and now you turn and you create all that confusion all around, which is exactly similar to what happened just now on the euro and on the pound and so on, right? So we have those structures, those compressions. Price looks like it's respecting those highs, goes down, breaks a low, and then goes up, creates that fake out, and then finally you have the big turn. Now this is a little bit of a bigger view. It can take a few weeks to happen. Let's see what's going to happen in there. Just keep in mind this scenario. This could happen. Yeah, with that being said, basically, yeah, just keep an eye on this one. If it happens, remember it was on the 4th of February when I kind of made this prediction. Maybe in 2 months' time, we'll be back here in I don't know, 1 month and a half, and we'll see what's going to happen. And if nothing like this happens, you can also mention I was wrong and you don't know what you're talking about, and it's okay. So with that being said, guys, thank you. It was a bit quiet today. My usual followers, Faden, Jack, Musani, and so on. I'm glad that you guys have better things to do on a Saturday instead of attending the stream. Guys, thank you so much for everyone that is watching this and that is watching even the record afterwards. Feel free to comment. Let me know if you agree with me with any levels and which levels are you looking for. And with that being said, enjoy your weekend. Don't remember, it was end of the month, so aside from doing your weekly analysis, also do your monthly analysis. Look back to how well did you perform in January. Look at those stats, look at what you could have done better, look at the missed trades, and try to analyze your performance based on the process and not just based on the P&L that you are getting. Look for ways to improve, and that's the most important thing. And always remember, there's new opportunities in the market, but at the same time try to create some urgency. Don't just have that mindset of okay, tomorrow it's another day, tomorrow it's another day, tomorrow it's another day. If you're always thinking like that, you are not going to be taking the necessary actions on a daily basis to actually progress and grow. Yes. Okay, guys. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you next Tuesday. Obrigado.